Welcome everybody to the City of Farmers Branch City Council meeting for Tuesday, January 20th. Our first item will be our invocation and pledges. So if you would, please join me. Heavenly Father, we ask that you shine your light on our city this evening as we are here to conduct important business for our community. Help us to remember that we are here to serve others, not ourselves, and that we are here to make decisions that will move our community forward, recognizing that we serve many different people. Give us guidance to look beyond ourselves. We ask that you also shine your light on all law enforcement, our firefighters, and our emergency first responders. They serve our community every day without fail, and we ask that you keep them safe. And finally, may the blessings that you have given us be a reminder that serving others is service to you. In Jesus' name we thank you. Amen. If you would, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay, so you know that we have seats up front. Everybody doesn't have to always sit in the back.
It's like high school.
Okay, it is like high school. Next up will be our items of community interest.
Good evening. We have a few items of community interest. First, city ordinances require that all single-family homes, townhomes, and duplexes to maintain a functional garage. If a garage has been converted into a living area, a replacement garage must be constructed. To help residents resolve these issues, the city offers an official amnesty program. If your garage was converted without a permit before July 16, 2024, you have until January 30th, 2026 to apply for a penalty-free permit. Don't miss this deadline. To learn more, visit our website or call 972-247-3131. Everyone is invited to the upcoming 2026 edition of the State of the City, set for January 27th here at City Hall. Here are updates, learn more about future plans and the vision for our community. Join Councilwoman Elizabeth Villafranca for a town hall meeting on February 10th at 6 p.m. right here at City Hall. This is your opportunity to get direct updates on District 4 projects and weigh in on broader citywide initiatives. Whether you have a specific question or just want to stay informed about our community's future, we want to see you right here. All residents are welcome to attend. Treat yourself to a child-free Valentine's celebration this year with the Community Recreations at the Community Recreation Center Parent Night Out on Friday, February 13th from 4 to 8 p.m. Kids ages 6 months to 13 years old can enjoy an evening of pizza, popcorn, and a movie while you take some well-deserved time to relax. Registration is open now at just $8 for members and $12 for non-members. Spaces are limited, so call 972-247-4607 today to secure a spot. And as always, you can sign up for CDE News at farmersbranchtx.gov or by scanning the QR code on screen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have our public comments. I will remind everybody that there is a 3-minute time limit for each person to speak this evening. When you come up to the podium, please state your name and address. Your timer will start as soon as you start speaking, and when the light on the podium turns red and you hear the tone, that will be the end of your comment period. Please, no defamatory or derogatory remarks towards any member of city staff, city council, or any board or commission. And I'm going to call folks up in the order that I received these forms. So the first speaker is Mary Witherspoon.
I'm not
Do you need, hold on, Mary.
Is it right here?
Yep, hold on, I got somebody to help you.
Okay. Thank you.
Microphone's ready.
Thank you. My name is Mary Witherspoon. I have lived adjacent to Farmers Branch for 22 years at 3020 Sundial Drive in Dallas. And because I have been here 22 years, Farmers Branch is part of my haunting grounds. I have an 8-year relationship with the hairdresser, Oscar. Don't judge him on my hairdressing today. I couldn't get my appointment with him scheduled today, but I trust Oscar to do my hair, and I like having access to Farmers Branch for Oscar. It's the same when I moved to this area of town 22 years ago, that I found my ophthalmologist, who is the doctor that, as a diabetic, when I was diagnosed at 19, I have annual diabetic eye exams. He's the one that caught my eye condition early, and I have the vision, the limited vision that I have today due to him. I see him 4 times a year now. That's a 20-plus year relationship I don't want to lose, because DART paratransit would no longer allow me to come to Farmers Branch should the city separate. I will no longer have access to the low vision supply store at Envision Dallas, which is the only low vision supply store in the North Texas area. I would not have access to it. I would not have access to the college campuses here at the Brookhaven campus. I would not have access to Brookhaven Country Club, where I go to meetings and events. So my concern is that even though I come to Farmers Branch for services, I pay in sales tax every time I have a hamburger when I go see Oscar, or I go have Mexican food when I go see my ophthalmologist. I'm going to lose that access if the city separates from DART. And those are long-term relationships that I don't want to give up. I'm not unique. There are other people who are unable to drive, own or operate a vehicle, that we use DART to get around to this Metroplex area. I was 20 when we voted DART in. This is a metropolitan area that I would like to have full access to. I thank you for your attention and time, and if there's an opportunity when I can let any of your constituents know my story and my concern about DART, I'd like to volunteer my time to come speak. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. I got chiefs there to help you. Next up is David Jones.
My name is David Jones, and we own a home at 3554 Golfing Green Drive. I'm here this evening to reiterate the position that any vote to pull out of DART should be considered our nuclear option. First, I want to thank Terry Lynn for the time he recently gave me. Using the Farmers Branch data, the Farmers Branch DART ridership data provided by Terry, combined with the data provided by DART CEO Nadine Lee, the total number of trips taken by Farmers Branch residents on DART bus, rail, GoLink, and paratransit services was 485,000 in FY24 and 460,000 for late FY23 and early FY25, combined for a 2-year total of 945,000. You heard that correctly. 945,000 trips on DART over the last 2 years, nearly 1 million trips taken by Farmers Branch residents over the past 2 years. The Dallas Morning News reported that if any member cities voted to pull out of DART on May 2nd, all DART service would stop soon after the election. DART currently provides 6 bus routes that stop at 132 total bus stops in Farmers Branch. All those bus stops would terminate soon after the election if we vote to pull out, and while some believe that 1 bus stop will remain at the Dallas College Brookhaven campus, information obtained from DART leadership seriously challenges that assumption. Now, finances. Due to the way that the debt is structured, member cities who vote to pull out would continue to pay the 1 penny sales tax to DART, and Farmers Branch is working under the assumption that our $180 million in debt would be paid off in 7 years. Let that settle in for a moment. Residents of Farmers Branch would continue to pay that 1 penny sales tax to DART until 2033. During that 7-year period, it is estimated that our annual gross cost to compensate for the loss of DART services would be between $2.5 and $3 million, with an estimated annual net cost of approximately $1 million, all coming out of Farmers Branch city budget. For 7 years, we will pay both the 1 penny sales tax to DART and whatever the final cost we incur to try to mitigate the loss of services currently provided by DART. Please continue to negotiate with DART for a win-win solution in good faith between DART and Farmers Branch before our February 27th deadline to call off the election. Now, here's our ask of City Council. If we cannot negotiate a new agreement with DART by February 27th, then let's pump the brakes and call off the election in May. The original vote by this City Council to call an election was not unanimous. It was 3-5. It could have easily gone the other way. If it makes sense later in the year, City Council can vote to decide to participate in an election in November, and we'd still be within our every 6-year window of opportunity. Such a strategic pause would give us time to see if the other member cities are successful in securing a new agreement with DART, and more importantly, we can learn from the experience of other member cities who do vote to pull out of DART. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up is Jacqueline Capizano. Oops. Microphone.
Is that right? Good evening, everyone. My name is...
Jacqueline, take like a half a step back. There you go. That's plenty.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Campizano. Today, I would like to talk about the importance of DART. I have been a DART rider since the age of 16. I remember my first time climbing up the steps of the bus, not knowing what to expect. The driver noticed my hesitation and said, "Don't worry, I'll guide you inside the building." These words made me feel confident that I can travel from point A to point B safely. DART is not just a service, but a pathway that promotes independence, dignity, and trust for people like myself and others in the disability community that need mobility assistance. Another thing to consider is the employment and well-being of the community. If DART services were to be eliminated from Farmers Branch or Plano, many individuals would face significant barriers of employment like distance and the inaccessibility of these locations. These cities are homes to very important businesses like Envision Dallas, which employs lots of people with disabilities. In conclusion, people would not be able to attend their doctor's appointments because of the lack of transportation. I hope you take this request into consideration as you think about the effects of this service. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Barbara Courier.
Barbara Courier, 4010 Kerr Circle in Farmers Branch. I want to applaud the mayor and the city council for, in the interest of transparency, posting on Facebook the letter they sent to the DART Board of Directors in December, setting forth the conditions under which the city would recommend continuing its participation in DART. There are many aspects of this matter I could address, but I want to focus on one that caught me by surprise: the fact that one of those conditions to continue with DART is declining participation in GoLink in all fixed route bus services. So let me see if I understand this. If we withdraw from DART, we lose all DART bus service. If we stay in DART, we lose all DART bus service. I've heard 2 council members explain that we'd then develop our own bus service within Farmers Branch. But we are part of a metropolitan area with regional connectivity, something that our council says they value. And yet, if we have no DART bus stops in our city, how would our local provincial system connect with the greater system? We would lose both connectivity and economies of scale. The city's position is not responsive to the needs of those people who depend on public transportation. Apparently, if you don't live in Farmers Branch and are disabled, too old to drive, or too poor to own and maintain a car, then you have no business coming to Farmers Branch. And if you live here or are in one of those categories, you have no business leaving. Will our businesses lose employees who can no longer get to work? Will some of our residents lose their jobs because they can no longer get to theirs? I've been tutoring a young lady who lives in Dallas and attends Brookhaven College. She is disabled and depends on buses to get to school. What happens to the many people like her? Our council members are excellent stewards of our tax dollars. I applaud you for that. But at heart, a purpose of government is to meet the needs of all of the people, and sometimes that takes dollars. I understand that the current DART bus routes do not serve our city well. Why not make remedying that situation something we negotiate rather than throwing out the baby with the bathwater? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker is David Silver.
May I defer to my wife first?
I'm going in the order.
David Silver, Millwood Circle, Mayor, Council Member, City Manager, Attorney. I want to applaud everyone who arrived here tonight, because getting here was a feat in and of itself with all the traffic. Couple things. Whatever happened to being able to report a trash bin still sitting out after the trash pickup? It's no longer available on the app. The search bar on the website, I have a terrible time using and never finds what I want. Recently, I'm not going to give you a date, but we had a bunch of people here from Austin that came up to talk about a card room. And those of you on the dais and those of us who were here remember they had so many people in this room that are not members of the city or of the community that many of us had to stand in the lobby to listen. That is ridiculous. If someone's going to come up here for a business, they should be allowed one person in the room at a time, and their contingency should wait out in the hall with everybody else. I want to ask what's going on with the EGRET prep, because they're getting ready to start roosting again. Next thing on my agenda, water bill. Used to be in Farmers Branch, we know what water costs are. There is no cost per gallon or 1,000 gallons or whatever this is on the water bill. I'm also curious, since I pay by credit card, I get a residential trash fee, but I don't have any idea what my credit card fee is at 2.5%. So I'm curious what that is. The other thing is, Mr. Reed, I forwarded an email. Where are you? There you are. I forwarded an email to you a few weeks ago about some suggestions that I have made. You indicated you forwarded them to the city manager. I'm just curious what's going on with those things. And so one of them was the traffic signals in the school zones. And I had highly recommended that we try turning them on flashing all the time. I don't know that that's against the law. I don't know that that is a hazard. But I do know this. Trying something and failing is better than not trying at all. It's doing something. Doing nothing is doing something, but at least we could have an idea of what would happen. I see the attorney kind of snickering at me. I don't know why, but
I'm listening carefully to you.
But I live at a traffic light in a school zone. I back up to a traffic light in a school zone, and these people drive like idiots through our city. The other thing is, I had this the other day. I love this idea. We have toll tags. We need to put up toll tag readers, and if you don't live in the city of Farmers Branch, we're going to give you a fee.
Next up is Richard Reynolds.
Thank you. Pardon me for not knowing any of these names. My address, North Garrett Avenue, Dallas, 75206 SIP, more simple terms, east of the State Fair. but in many respects, and some that I've known very well, and Ms. Miranda will be up here pretty quickly, there is major need in public transportation. Just between the two of us, she's seen plenty of my epilepsy over the decades. I've been around a blind woman plenty of times. What Respect and I put together today, you want to remove your city from DART services, but increase economy development? Without access to affordable, accessible transportation, you are decreasing the value of your city. People will not be able to come to work, as I know her job is just down the street, shop, be entertained, receive medical care, go to school. Someone's already mentioned some campuses here in Farmers Branch, or much needed services. By removing your city from DART services, you are not only doing your city a disservice, but the entire DFW Metroplex is becoming a disservice and will be very destroyed. What are the alternatives for public transportation for your city? Are they affordable? Are they accessible? Would you like to be considering having to get maybe a 40-mile drive back across DFW to get home, as I've got to line up? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Mike McGinnis.
Mike McGinnis, 13220 Glad Acres Drive. I'll begin by addressing several items that I saw in the city's letter of December 17th, a month ago, that I only recently read. There seem to be items of unreasonable demand that the city has not items on DART of unreasonable demand that the city has not publicly supported by facts. It seems as though the city is making a case for withdrawal by being able to say DART did not respond to these unreasonable demands. A $1 million demand for a full-time police officer at our station stands out to me as being excessive and unneeded. Is there a record of our police being called to the station? How many robberies, assaults, vandalism acts, or other crimes have there been at the DART station or parking lot in the last year or 5 years? If there has been significant crime there, the public probably should have been alerted a long time ago. Similar, why is there a demand for DART to rebuild the station in a lockdown mode? That seems an easy one for DART to say, well, all the other stations are open. Why are we so special for all that trouble and expense? What is the rationale for voluntarily declining all bus service, especially GoLink? Will the city help students at Dallas Community College get from home to the school? Has there been a study done to determine the cost of a self-funded intra-city transportation system? I would love to see that, because I've been advocating for local shuttle for several years as last mile assistance for people to ride the DART or at least remove traffic from the local streets. A more logical and cost-effective move would be to get DART buses on our main thoroughfares instead of circumnavigating most of the city. But I realize that they themselves are responsible for not meeting our needs in spite of requests. I assume we have requested that. Again, lack of information on what the city has attempted in the past. It is short-sighted and unrewarding to leave DART. First, the city should make it clear to the voters that there will be no tax relief from our debt service for another 5 to 7 years. Second, it is a regional transportation system, and we are a part of that region. Our actions affect other areas, and with other cities leaving, could debilitate the whole system. Third, if we ever want to be a modern urban community, mass transit is an answer to many issues, from traffic jams to serving the physically and financially unprivileged folks who depend on it.
Thank you. Next up is Pamela Silver.
Hello. The recognition events published and hosted by the city needs to cease. We do not need messaging going global on social media. This type of viral activity is divisive and becomes a hotbed of flashpoints for anger. Groups who want to convene to bring attention to their heritage, faith, etc., should be responsible for organizing, publicizing, hosting, and paying for all services, security, and insurance required by the city should an event be hosted in our city. Farmers Branch cannot afford to be seen as an organizer or advocate in any form. We need to be agnostic and maintain a neutral stance, including publications, notices, media, which helps to ensure we are not promoting situations that require a larger police, fire department presence. We have to be cognizant that this type of recognition can exceed our current resources, especially if things should get out of control, resulting in injuries and/or public and private property damage. Not one red cent from public dollars should be used in any form of recognizing every difference we have under the sun. Celebrate our teachers, our doctors, nurses, firefighters, police, and helping homeless pets. Keep it contained, general, and fair. This does not make us a mean community. It makes us a competent, peaceful, and realistic community. As economics continue to tighten across our communities, voters and citizens want cities to respect how our funds are spent. We should all be equal. Nothing in that statement has ever changed. The old adage still pertains: if you do for one, you must do for all. The city needs to tighten its communication plan and recognition list, and the city's belt too. Number 2, quit selling commercial property in the city. The city should stand up a real estate department to manage land leases for the benefit of our citizens. Doing so would be intended to reduce citizen taxes, allow the city to own and manage land leases on behalf of the citizens, as well as dictate how the land is developed and cared for. All commercial properties in our city limits that are to be used for construction sites need an 8-foot wall with an engineered footing. I have a little experience with that. And the property must comply with the code, as every Farmers Branch property owner must. The TxDOT site is an abhorrent site. I never want to hear a city manager, Ben, say, "I'll have to ask them nicely." The citizens are just taken to court. Whomever sold that land screwed the citizens of Farmers Branch. We could have had an HEB on our terms. And lastly, we do not want to live in an entertainment district, which impacts all facets of the residents' quality of living. We already are bordered by Addison, Las Colinas, Irving, and of course Dallas. Gambling and tourist venues.
Thank you.
I'll share it with you.
Next up is it Randy Massley? Okay, sorry I couldn't read the writing.
I told you I knew a good bird.
I apologize for butchering your name.
It's okay, they do it all the time. Just call me to dinner, okay? I'm getting hungry. Which way do I go? Right
You're
there?
fine, right there.
Right there? Good evening, everyone, to the mayor and the city council of Farmers Branch. Thank you for letting us express our comments here. My name is Randa Hasley, 4522 Abbott Avenue in Dallas, apartment 12, 75205. I'm here tonight to comment on my use of DART and the impact that a potential withdrawal of Farmers Branch from DART would have on not only myself, but countless other people who not only work in Farmers Branch. For instance, I work very nearby at Envision, and most of the people who work there rely on DART to get to and from. Not only that, but I want to echo the comments that were stated earlier, that it would not only affect Farmers Branch, but the whole Metroplex area, and would have a ripple effect everywhere. So please consider and get the word out, and I am willing to assist in sharing my experiences to getting the word out to voters. Granted, there may be issues with DART, but as was stated earlier, we need to negotiate with them and not, as was so eloquently put, not throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to remain in DART because everything and everyone is interconnected throughout the city. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next up is Jennifer Farlow.
I'm Jennifer Farlow. I live at 2301 Briardale Drive in Carrollton.
Okay.
I am a teacher for students with visual impairments, and so I just want to bring to your attention the stewardship of the future for all of the young people throughout the Metroplex and how Farmers Branch is a part of all of that. So I take my students on DART to learn how to get around so that they are able to do the things they need to do to be independent adults. So I would just like you to consider all of that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all the speakers that we have this evening. And folks, I realize this is a very important issue, probably one of the biggest things that's ever faced Farmers Branch. And again, I would encourage you to come next Tuesday evening to the State of the City right here at 6 o'clock. Many of y'all, your comments, not only tonight, but in meetings prior, have, when you come up and speak, we're not allowed to address you or rebut to you, but hopefully next week we'll be able to share some additional information and maybe help clear things up. And again, that will be right here, 6 o'clock next Tuesday evening. So thank you all very much for coming and speaking. Next up is our consent agenda.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Mayor, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please indicate your vote accordingly. Consent agenda is approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Next up is our regular agenda, and item L1 is consider adopting ordinance number 3983, appointing a presiding municipal court judge for the City of Farmers Branch Municipal Court of Record number 1, establishing the position as full-time and setting compensation and taking appropriate action.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Jay Patel. I'm the Finance Director for the city, and I do not have a presentation for this item. However, we do need affirmation from Council regarding the appointment and compensation of the presiding municipal judge for the City of Farmers Branch. The proposed ordinance before you, number 3983, will need to be approved with Council stating the motion for their preference of the judge and the desired compensation amount. And I'm here for any questions you all may have.
Jay, thank you very much. I'll start at my left. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
No questions for me, thank you.
Councilwoman Bennett.
No questions, thank you.
Councilman Reed.
Nothing for me, thanks.
Councilwoman Villafranca.
Can we go to,
Or Councilman
No
Neal.
comments or questions for me.
Okay.
Mayor.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to move to appoint Stephen File as the city's presiding municipal judge at a salary of $135,000 per year.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
We have a motion and a second. So if you would, please indicate your vote accordingly. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time.
Okay.
That's at the end of the agenda.
All right, we have one item out of executive session that I'd like to get addressed now. That is item D2.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I move to approve an economic development incentive agreement with Southwest Airlines and to authorize the city manager to sign on the city's behalf as discussed in executive session.
A second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If you would, please indicate your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. That concludes all of our regular agenda items and business out of executive session. We did not finish our study session earlier, so we're going to go back and resume the study session right here, right now, with item C6, which is receive a quarterly update from the Economic Development Department.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Darren Harris, Deputy Director, Economic Development. This evening, I'll be giving you an update on the Economic Development Quarterly Update. As you see before you, that is our illustrious team that we have for the Economic Development Department. And in the fourth quarter of 2025, we had one of the biggest incentive agreements approved for form factor, which will bring 650 jobs to the city at a cost of $81,000 per job, and it will bring a capital investment of over $300 million to the city as well. We also have some other incentive agreements that I'd like to bring forth, and that would be the Gravel Gun Agreement. They would be located in their establishment here in the city as well. We also have the Southwest Convenience Stores that would bring in their headquarters here to the 5001 LBJ building, Suite 900 with 10,000 square feet of space. And then we also have Foundry Acquisitions that will be coming to the city as well. They'll be building a 125,000 square foot facility that'll be valued at $28 million. And then finally, we have the 11 Max Indoor Fun Park that will be built off of the 35 at Midway. And they'll be having indoor trapeze, climbing walls, and skate rink, and also a beer garden for adults as well. So there'll be something for all to enjoy there. And last but not least, I'd like to point out that in 2025, we had over 101 businesses that located in the city of Farmers Branch that were either taking on leases, owning a property, or using co-working space here in Farmers Branch. Looking at some of the targeted events that we have for the fourth quarter, we had 72 businesses that we visited with our BRE visits that included ribbon cuttings and grand openings as well. We also had a Mustang Station meeting here for the businesses in the Mustang Station area, and we talked about the concerns and addressed the concerns that they had with the construction that's going on in the area. We also had the Firehouse Gala that staff and the council attended, which showcased the upcoming season for the Firehouse Theater, and they also had live performances there to showcase the actual performances there. And last but not least, we had our Satin at the Mustang Station event that was done in December in conjunction with the Parks and Recreation Department. And this was to celebrate the businesses that were in the Mustang Station area and to also give them more retail to the area as well. Looking at the incentives we have to date, we had 8 demo rebuild incentives that we promoted for this quarter, which helped to revitalize the neighborhoods and enhance the neighborhoods as well. We currently have 2 major projects that we're coming forth to the council for approval. And then last but not least, on average, we are seeing 6 to 8 people for either business coming into the area, demo rebuild applications, or expansion. Looking at fourth quarter events that happened for the 2025 year and 2026 quarter, we had the annual golf tournament that took place. We also had the MetroCrest Chamber Gala, Black and White Gala that took place. We had staff and council members attend. And on February 14th, we will be having our annual Galentine's event that will be hosted by, that we hosted at the Roots Restaurant. And it celebrates business-owned, women business-owned businesses and supports their collaboration and support amongst each other. Lastly, looking at our warehouse vacancy rates and our multifamily rates as well. If we look at our warehouse vacancy rates, we are well below the national average, which is 6.7. And if we look at our neighboring cities, Carrollton, Addison, and Dallas-Fort Worth, we're well below their rates as well. So we're right on par with, we're like at 90% occupancy with our industrial warehouse vacancy. And the same goes for the multifamily vacancy rates. We're well below the national average, which is at 6.5% for the fourth quarter. And looking at our neighboring cities, we're well below their rates as well. The only one that comes close to us is Addison at 6.4%. Moving forward, I want to go over all of the economic development incentives and data points that we want to cover, but the one I do want to mention is the facade improvement program, how much more we're going to be promoting that once we go out and talk to business and through our media presence and through other marketing materials as well. That concludes my presentation for the Economic Development Quarterly Update, and I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, Darren. Councilwoman Gonzalez?
No questions for me, but thank you for the presentation, and I love everything y'all are bringing into the city.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Bennett?
So grateful. Thank you very much.
Councilman Reed?
Thanks, Darren. I appreciate it. Fantastic presentation. I tapped the knowledge bank that is our city manager in regards to the taxes that are paid into the city. And approximately 73% of the taxes that we receive paid in is by commercial property and businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So the expansion of that and the maintenance of that, because I know a big part of what you do is not only bringing new businesses in, but keeping businesses here.
Correct.
And I know that's a huge task, and you've been very successful at it. And I appreciate what you and your team have done. So recognizing the huge fiscal impact that economic development has in regards to the city does not go unnoticed. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Villafranca?
Thank you so much, Darren. I am so proud of all of the work that you and your team are doing. It's incredible to see all of these great businesses. 11 Max actually invited the council for their ribbon cutting. The mayor and I were able to attend, and it is really cool. My first question was, are you going to allow grown-ups to get on all of this stuff? Because that's how cool it is. We're going to have a Starbucks coming in really soon. Form Factor is coming in. They're going to be having a lot of great jobs. But something that I wanted to highlight is Living Spaces is coming to 635 and Midway. So if you have not visited, it's a great furniture store. There's something for everybody, different price points. And they're going to be having a huge preview event on February the 5th. I think you need to RSVP, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So if anybody's interested, you should check it out. Thanks for all your work. I appreciate you.
Councilman Neal?
Thank you, Darren, for your presentation. And thank you for all the hard work you guys do. I just want to clarify something I think I heard. Did you say 125 new businesses?
101.
101 new businesses have moved to the city since?
So start of 2025.
Since the beginning. Okay, so basically all of last year. That's pretty good. 125 new businesses.
101.
101. I'm sorry, 101. I better write that down. 101. I got you. Real quickly on the slide you have about the occupancy rates and the numbers, can you give us a little idea on how you derive those numbers or where that data came from?
That data came from a third-party company that we use, CoStar.
Okay, so there's a company that tracks this information and we just pulled the data from them to
And they're
understand.
reputable. They're used nationwide. They're
Understand,
reputable.
yeah. Just want to make sure the residents are clear that
Okay.
we're not just pulling numbers out of the hat.
Oh, no,
So
no.
there is a specialized company that does this sort of thing, and we're just relying on them to assist us with that. So The other thing, just to mention real quickly, form factor is a pretty big deal here for Farmers
deal.
Branch. One of the biggest in the history. I want to make sure the residents realize that it's a testing semiconductor high-tech facility that's going to bring in many high-paying jobs, hundreds of 650 high-paying jobs in the $80,000 a year average or higher pricing, and that's pretty big for the city. I just
That is.
want to
That's really
highlight
big.
that and not lose sight of that. That's a pretty big deal. So thank you for all that, and those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, Darren, thank you very much. We appreciate the report. Okay. Next up is item C7, receive an update on adopting a public facility corporation in Farmers Branch.
And good evening, Mayor, City Council. It's me again, giving you the update on the Public Facility Corporation. So what we're looking at is a decision if we wanted to bring in a city-controlled public facility corporation as a tool. This will be used to help us with future projects, some that are slow and some that are not materialized. And this would also help us to make competent decisions if we put in the correct policies and guidelines going forward. What is a public facility corporation? It is a nonprofit public entity created under the city and Texas law to help finance, develop, or own facilities serving a public purpose. What they're mainly used for is workforce or attainable housing and mixed-use development. What a PCF city controls through is the board appointments, city adopted policies, and the council approval on a case-by-case basis or project-per-project basis. What we want to do here is make sure, again, that we put the policies and the guidelines in place to make sure that this is done properly and make sure that we don't have any misalignments or misunderstandings with the council's objectives. Why should we consider or why should we use these? Here are some of the points. I don't want to go over them again, but I will if you have any questions. And here are some of the precautions that we can take when we look into this. The potentials are property tax exemptions, long-term compliance obligations, and reputational risks if it's not governed properly. Oh, sorry about that. The bottom line of the PCF depends entirely on the council policy. Again, the policy and the guidelines. If we put those in place and they're done correctly, then this will run without any, hopefully without any misunderstandings or mishaps. If we create the PFC, my staff and myself will create the articles of incorporation for the council for adoption, and then we'll preserve the council incorporation, articles of incorporation will preserve the city council authority over the future projects. If we don't create the PFC, what will happen is that we will continue using development tools that we have. There will be no change to the processes, and the potential impacts for future projects will be possibly delayed. With that, I will ask the council on what direction you would like to go in and any questions that you would like to have regarding the Public Facility Corporation.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you again. This was requested by Councilwoman Bennett, so we'll start with you.
So Darren, I guess I'm still a little confused, honestly. And I know this is the whole point and purpose is to educate us. But if we do this and we set it up and we control it, does this mitigate, and this may be an attorney question, the opportunity for somebody sneaking in behind through the back doors and doing this without us knowing? And
No, there was some concern in the past about housing finance corporations and authorities in other jurisdictions coming into other cities and doing projects. That concern was addressed by the legislature at the last legislative session. So nowadays, housing finance corporations and housing finance authorities are limited to their own territorial jurisdiction.
and they must come through the city.
They can't set up and operate a project in Farmers Branch without our consent. there are a handful out there that do statewide projects, but no longer. A private, public finance corporation, if you wanted to create one, I mean, I haven't been asked to look at it in graphic detail yet. You know, we have a local government corporation as it stands right now.
Right.
A cursory review on my part indicates that it was originally set up years and years ago as a housing finance association or authority. And so that authority itself could, at council direction, create a PFC. But either way, if this council decides to create a PFC to move forward with that proposal, then it would be covered and controlled and solely responsible to the council, so.
Okay. I'd like to hear what everybody else has to say.
So just so everybody knows, we don't have the same situation occur where one tried to sneak in, and fortunately, the Central Appraisal District caught that and notified the city. But the rules that they were operating under to do that have changed, so thank goodness for that. Okay. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
So to do this, we're going to appoint a board, and then we will create the policies, correct?
That's correct.
Before we start using this?
Correct.
Okay. And just because I'm a little confused on what it is, so how does this solve the problems that we can't solve on our own?
I will leave that to the attorney.
It's not going to solve everything, but it does serve as a vehicle, like a housing finance corporation, to do partnership projects with developers for affordable housing. And it becomes extremely feasible and quite popular in circumstances where the arrangement would result in ad valorem tax exemptions for the project. So it becomes very attractive financially. And it does provide a very clear and controllable means for the city to do workforce housing and affordable housing projects using a PFC in partnership with the developer.
So let's try to expand on that in a little simpler language, where if a developer was interested in doing a attainable housing project, it could be a multifamily project or some other type of homes, and they can secure financing with tax advantages to do that. There are tax advantages available to them for them to do that. But we need to be cognizant, and the PFC would need to be well aware of the financial impact on the city in terms of property tax revenue or lack thereof. And the same goes for school districts and the county also, as well as the hospital and community college. So it is possible that somebody could put in a project and they're not paying any of those entities their taxes.
Which was what was tried.
Which, yes, and that's what happened down the street. Fortunately, that was discovered, so the city didn't lose out on its portion of that property tax revenue. Am I good there?
Yeah, what he said.
I appreciate the simpler terms, so thank you.
Okay. Councilman Reed.
Yeah, so bottom line, it's just an additional tool that we have in our tool belt to attract businesses and developments and projects like that. And just to be sure, we just have to create one PFC, and we could have multiple projects underneath that one PFC. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay. And if we don't want to use it, we don't have to.
That's correct.
It's just, again, another tool that's available to us.
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you.
Councilwoman Villafranca.
Thank you so much once again for these wonderful, thorough presentations. I appreciate you. I am in favor of having the PFC. I think it would be one more resource for us to be able to use. And just to reiterate that the city would still control the board appointments, city adopted policies, and it would be project by project. So it would be approved project by project. So I am in favor of doing this, and I'm reading it right from the sheet.
Well, the PFC board
That's correct.
would be in charge.
Yes, but we would appoint the board.
Correct.
And we would still
Just wanted to
have,
make sure that, yeah.
we would still maintain our hands
Yes.
on the PFC. Thank you. I'm in favor of it.
Okay.
Councilman Neal?
Thank you, Darren. We had a situation recently, right, where the company tried to slip one in on us, right? And what are we going to do to prevent that from happening? I mean, we're fortunate the appraisal district caught it and helped us out, but what would we do in the future? What sort of protections do we have to limit that from happening again?
Well, the change in law at the last legislative session should give us the protections. That
So there was Texas legislative law that was put in place to protect us in that. So that was a positive thing. So Darren, would you be able to tell me what other cities nearby us have such a PFC, how their usefulness has been for their city, how many projects they may have or development projects that are utilizing them?
I can tell you the number, the cities and the number of projects. I can tell you their usefulness, but Dallas has 20 that are approved or pending. Plano has 13 projects. Anna has, the city of Anna has 1. Grand Prairie has 0, and Louisville has 1 project approved.
So are you aware of any cities such as maybe Addison or Capel, any of the immediate surrounding jurisdictions that
Not that I
have?
found when I did my research. These are the
Okay.
ones that I found that was closest to us.
Okay. So I was going to ask, why do we really need this? Other than to say, just another tool in the toolbox, so to speak. So with that being said, have we been approached by multiple developers for the need for such a program? Or is this something we're just doing to try to attract them as far as putting the tool in the toolbox?
I haven't been approached by any developers as yet, but it'd just be a tool that we would have in our toolbox.
So
we go that route.
Do you suspect that we're having problems attracting projects because we don't have this option?
No, I think, like I said, it would just be a tool in our toolbox.
Okay. All right. And just a few other comments that this tool would potentially allow developers some sort of a tax exemptive status. Is that correct?
Correct.
So that they could minimize, if not some or all of their taxes that normally would be put forth. Okay. So my thoughts on this is I'm not sure that we really need this. I know there's talks about having more affordability in the community in the city, but I think we already have enough affordable housing in the city. We've got the Dallas Housing Replacement Program that's available to folks. We've got the Builders of Hope program, to which we've committed $3.5 million for. We've got the Minor Housing Repair Program that can help in those that may be challenged somewhat financially in their homes. So I just don't see the need for us having this program at this time. And as it's been stated, we don't seem to have limited any developers from coming forward with any project. It doesn't seem to have been hurting us, limiting us.
No, we've got a number of housing projects and programs that the city is currently sponsoring. The PFC concept would be a completely different, shouldn't say completely different, just a different method of providing.
Right, it's just another tool, right?
It's
But from
another
what
tool.
I'm hearing, it doesn't seem like we need any more tools because we've got projects coming in. We've got other available programs already in place.
I think we're still a bit of a ways off from even formally considering adopting one. But I haven't had the chance to review in any graphic detail our existing local government corporation and how that might fit in with the PFC to begin with. So I think, I don't anticipate that this agenda item tonight is for us to move forward with a definitive.
I understand,
decision.
they're just looking for some direction and guidance from us, is that not correct?
Some more guidance.
So-
I'd like you to look into the LGC and explain that to us. I thought we had had that previously, but that was before your time. It was another law firm that gave that. And so if the LGC, this is where it's supposed to be and be put under, then I think we need to understand that, because I'm not opposed to it. I just want it to be in the appropriate location.
I agree. We currently do have an LGC that I believe was created as if it were a housing finance corporation. And a lot of times PFCs will be created by housing finance corporations that cities already create. So the structure can be really simple or can be much more complicated, but it does require a lot more study. So I think at this point.
No, I understand, and I'd be okay with it. It just seems as though we have plenty of tools already available in our toolbox. And I also believe we have affordable housing underway currently in the city. So I don't know that we need this tool in the toolbox. That's all.
Any other comments? Okay. I'm gathering that council would like to get some more information. Maybe we'll bring this back at another time so we can have additional conversation. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is C9, receive an update regarding Discover Farmers Branch tourism efforts and events. Finally.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for letting us come and talk to you about our year in review. I'm Meredith Dowdy. I'm one of the tourism contractors, and this is Ann Stokes, one of the tourism contractors. And we're here tonight to talk about FY 24-25 and all that happened in tourism. So how does tourism actually strengthen our city? So we support 13 hotels, now 12 since the Wyndham closed, that generate hotel tax, visitor spending, and provide jobs that collectively make up one of the biggest employments in Farmers Branch. In 24-25, more than 300,000 visitors stayed in Farmers Branch hotels, and they supported local restaurants, shops, and entertainment through visitor spending. Oh, sorry. So here's the stats. Our hotels drive success, and when they have success, the city has success. So our work in tourism is focused on supporting our hotel partners, and that increases visitation into our city and revenue into our city. So these 24-25 results reflect that connection and the strategies that we've implemented. In 24-25, we generated $3.49 million in hotel tax. We had 59,018 tourism-involved room nights. We had 98 groups and events and partners that we supported. And over the last 3 years, our hotel tax revenue has increased by 18.6%, growing from $2.9 million to consistently above $3.3 million, with an all-time high in FY 23-24 of $3.5 million.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So those are some pretty awesome numbers. Let's talk about what it takes to make those numbers happen. So we executed over 1,600 sales touches with partners to support hotels, events, groups, and businesses. We partnered with tournaments to generate close to 12,000 in room nights, bringing spectators and athletes to our town. We received 3,700 clicks on Discover Farmers Branch Eats and Drinks, and this is where they go to discover all things Farmers Branch. We installed 130 welcome decor items that created a warm welcome and first impressions of our town. We received over 460,000 views on social media. We showcased hotels, events, restaurants, and things to do in Farmers Branch. We produced over 200 creative assets to promote our partners and welcome our guests. We supported 7 hotels with incentives that helped to make them successful. Let's look at a few highlights from the fiscal year 24-25. We had the in-flight training, which was part of the corporate loyalty program. That generated close to 27,000 room nights. We partnered with UPA for the Pickleball World Championship. That fueled close to $16 million in economic impact. The Korean Olympics brought close to 8,000 people to our Stars hockey and multi-purpose facilities. The Firefighter Challenge had over 20 countries represented. People come from all over the world to Farmers Branch to learn and to compete. A few things that are going on for this year, the FIFA, we've all heard about it. Dallas is hosting 9 matches. Those 9 matches are going to be in 1 month's time period. They also have the International Broadcast Center and a fan fest at Fair Park. We've got many upcoming volleyball events at the multipurpose facility, and we're working with the Hispanic Women's Network of Texas for a conference in September. That is what we have for the presentation. Are there any questions?
Ladies, I just want to say thank you all so much. Your work shines through at events like pickleball and some of our other events. And for me, I'm most proud when you have people coming up to you, as I have, and they're complimenting on the signage at the hotels or the things that we have done that they haven't seen in other cities. That's a true testament to your efforts. And so I congratulate you. I applaud you for that. So thank you very much. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
That is amazing, everything you guys put together. The 3,700 clicks and the 460 views, is that like in a whole year?
That was for fiscal year 24-25, so October 1 of 2024 through September 30th of 2025.
That's amazing. And I had no idea we had the Korean Olympics here, so that's fantastic. Thank you for everything you do, and I can't wait to see more.
Yep, meeting with them tomorrow.
Thank you, ladies. You're great. I do want to go back to the race from earlier because I know that she pulls in from all over the world for many of her events. And so I'm really prayerful that you guys can partner with her to help with that as well.
Sure.
Councilman Reed.
Great numbers, great activity. Having attended many of the events, especially pickleball, I had a ball. Thank you so much for that. I look forward to the upcoming year and all the events that we're going to be having. So thank you for everything you do.
Councilwoman Villafranca.
Meredith, and you know I'm your fan. You guys are so incredible. One thing is to listen to these ladies talk about all of the things that they're doing, and another thing is to attend the events and see how wonderfully, seamlessly amazing they run, from golf tournaments to the pickleball and everything in between. They are the most well-connected team that I have ever seen, and I'm really grateful for all your work. Thank you so much.
Councilman Neal.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Meredith and Ann. I sense your passion for what you do, and I really appreciate that. And I'm sure the city and the council also appreciate that. So thank you very much for being so committed to that. And for the pickleball, I noticed you had about $15.7 million of economic impact. Do we have any idea what that translates to from a tax revenue standpoint to the city? Any ballpark ideas or thoughts? I mean, that's a lot of economic impact. I'd just like to know how much goes into the city's coffers. If we don't have it, I can find out later and get back to you. That's no problem. But thank you all for what y'all do. Very much appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. Anything else? No?
I just want to say thank you, all of y'all, for your support. We say it all the time. We have the best job in the city, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. We appreciate it. Okay. Next up is item C10, an update on the garage conversion amnesty program permit for single-family homes with unauthorized garage conversions.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Sam Chavez, I'm the Director of Community Services for the city. With me tonight is Scott Webster. He's the Deputy Director of Community Services, in case I need some help. But anyway, so this is an update to the garage conversion amnesty program. So, real quickly, just a real quick background on it. This 18-month amnesty program permit was approved back in July of 2024. It was established for unauthorized garage conversions in existence prior to July 16th of 2024, which is set to expire at the end of this month, which would be January 31st. So the objectives were to ensure unpermitted garage conversions comply with health, safety, and minimum building codes. In doing so, it would validate garage conversions and thus remove the non-conforming status of these structures to allow the city to issue permits, building permits, for any future expansions or additions to these homes in the future. So the way we got the word out is, of course, we created a flyer or flyers in English and Spanish. We mailed these flyers out to with all residential water bills. There were 2 mailings directly to residents with potential garage conversions. And the key term here going forward is really potential. And these were, so these would describe the possibility of garage conversions that existed. We also sent them to, we also posted them on current city social media channels and websites. We handed these out to residents at all our city events. And we actually hand delivered them to the remaining homes with potential garage conversions that had not applied. And lastly, they were published in the branch bulletin and branch review. So let's go back to the list itself. So how did we validate and what sorts of research did we did? So the initial list included 1,393 addresses identified with potential garage enclosures. These are really visual surveys, what I would call a windshield survey, driving down the street and assessing whether or not, just from a real quick look, whether or not the structure converted a garage or didn't convert a garage. So subsequent to that assessment, the staff utilized all the available data that we had, and we were able to identify 358 homes with garage conversions and remove those from the list as having permits for those conversions. That list was reduced to 1,035 potential garage enclosures. Of that list, of that 1,035 addresses, we were also able to reduce that even further through new amnesty program permits that were applied for and issued by the city after inspection. And subsequent to that list, again, it was further reduced to a total of 731 addresses on that list through additional staff research, including owner-occupied, renter-occupied. We used the Dallas County Appraisal District to do that. We also use Google Street View for verification. So we went down to 731. Of that, we were also able to reduce it down to 714 based on homeowners' requests for permit verifications, on-site visits of questionable conversions, and then again, new amnesty program permits. To date, that total shows you that we've been able to validate 679 of the original 1,393 originally listed potential garage enclosures. But based on today at 3 o'clock, our numbers are up a little bit in that we've been able to validate 698 of them, which potentially means that we're at about 50% based on the original list. So we're going to break these up as the program ends at the end of January of this month. We'll have compliant homes and we'll also have non-compliant homes. So those that have reached compliance, we would be able to issue building permits for future expansions and any addition to the existing home without the need to construct a new two-car garage to replace a converted garage. If you fall into the category of non-compliant, we would not be able to issue any new building permits for expansion or an addition, but we will be able to issue permits for maintenance of the structure, such as if you need a plumbing permit, electrical permit, any sort of permit that would not expand the size of the unit. If you chose to come in and you wanted to expand in a non-conforming structure, you really have two options. You would need to reestablish the converted garage back into a garage, or you could construct a new two-car garage to replace the one that's been converted. So those are the parameters under that category. So under our next step is we will continue to assess the remaining potential garage locations to ensure all possible avenues have been used up to the January 31st deadline of this program. We would use on-site visual inspections on questionable garage conversions and also utilize requests by homeowners to validate any permits that have been issued for those. Now, one of the things that we do from a visual inspection, is that we look at whether or not there are changes in the structure. One, is there different material? Is there a change in the roof pitch? Are the materials matching when they turn a corner on the house? So if they use some sort of hardy board or hardy plank, what tends to give it away is that they don't line up. So there's a change in line or a finish line on the material. We also will look at the foundation line because, as you know, the foundation is a little higher, the top of the foundation, than it is for a garage. So you tend to look at that. You also look at the placement of windows, whether or not they line up. One may be higher than the other, so that's a visual indication that something's happened. And also where the floor plate for the door is it sitting on the concrete surface or is it elevated above? And that simply indicates that there is a change in elevation. So visually, that's what we look at. So as of February 1st, all those addresses that still potentially have a garage enclosure will now be non-conforming. And as such, we will not be able to issue a permit to expand that non-conforming structure. But again, we will be able to issue any permits to maintain the structure. At this point, no fines will be assessed because staff did not visually observe that construction happening at the time that it did occur. As assessing a fine would penalize those that did not perform the garage conversion themselves or bought a home with an already converted garage. So as you can tell, that list is a ever-changing list as we daily look at things, and we received permits for these previously existing garage conversions. So in order to get a more accurate list, we would actually have to enter the home upon approval by the occupant, or we would need to seek an administrative warrant in order to do so if they declined. But that's really the only way to get a true, accurate number. And with that, I will conclude this portion of the presentation, though. Both Scott and I will be available to answer any of your questions.
Thank you very much. This was requested by Councilman Neal, so we'll start down there.
Thank you. I just have a few follow-up questions. Thanks for the presentation. I know recently City Council was provided a bunch of flyers to go out and visit their districts and discuss with the residents, those residents that were on the list. And we quickly learned that the list was somewhat inaccurate in some cases, and that was very frustrating for me as a council representative out there. It's good to hear that we've sort of remedied around 50% of the original 1,400. That's good. There also seem to be properties that are on the list showing as converted, but I was unable to determine how that determination was even made. So I've reported some of those to the city manager, and I'm sure they'll be following up as to help me understand those a little bit. So just for clarification, after this amnesty ends and there is a non-compliant property, they would still be able to get a permit for things such as plumbing or an electrical fix or foundation repair. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. So, however, if they wanted to expand the property, then that would not be permitted until they come in compliance. That's correct?
Yes, sir, that is.
Okay. So with that being said, why would somebody who's non-compliant come forward to do an expansion if they're already non-compliant? Do you have any idea of why they might do that? I mean, if they're already non-compliant, they've already expanded it, why would they come forward again?
It may be that they may want to come forward and maybe add an additional bedroom
Okay.
or living area, but it's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about when there's a change in property ownership, when somebody sells a non-compliant property to the new homeowner, the new homeowner's going to be excited. They got their new house, they're ready to move in, and then they try to do something and they're non-compliant, no fault of their own. How are we going to address or handle that? It sort of seems to take the shine off their excitement of a new home.
Sure it does, but that's what title policies are for. The fact that a piece of property, that a garage conversion that was done without a permit, it makes it an illegal structure, or it makes that portion of the structure an illegal structure. The encouragement or inducement to come into compliance would be, obviously, number one, the threat of enforcement by code enforcement, citations on a daily basis, which is not really a practical opportunity, given the fact that we've got hundreds of them. Because this type of nonconformity is not, or illegality is not something that exists as a matter of record, homeowners can purchase a home, and the seller, who may know that it's an illegal garage conversion, has no obligation or has no incentive to tell them that. So people will buy homes, innocent people, without knowing that this structure or portion is illegal. If they do ask for a permit to do some modification to the existing structure, then we have every right in the world to tell them that they need to bring the entire structure into conformity. So, I mean, it's an unfortunate circumstance, but
Right. And it's also possible that the seller doesn't know that they're out of compliance.
it is going to be my guess that some of these structures, some of these conversions were done years and years ago, and properties have changed hands multiple times. So it is quite possible that an existing homeowner simply has no idea that their structure may be non-conforming or illegal. But that was the purpose of the garage conversion program, the amnesty program in the first place, as well as the council motivation to distribute flyers in the neighborhoods.
So essentially, we're not going to do anything against the non-compliant residents until such time as they ask to do some sort of an expansion or addition to the property. Is that right?
That is correct.
But code enforcement, nevertheless, the city nevertheless has the authority to conduct inspections and issue citations. So they can't really commit in the middle of a council meeting to refrain from issuing citations for violations of our codes. But it's just, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, it's just not part of the program right now.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to understand, what are we going to do at the end of this amnesty? Are we going to give them a citation? Are we not going to give them a citation? We're just going to let it go? I mean, that's what I'm trying to find out, what the will of the council is here, what sort of direction we might give for those that are just non-compliant. It just sounds like we're not going to do much of anything from what I'm hearing.
Councilman, if you're asking that question, we'll go down the line and let
Fair enough,
others,
fair enough.
they can weigh in on that. We'll start with Councilwoman Gonzalez.
This is not my favorite thing. Just like Councilman Neal mentioned, we did have a list. Mine was the biggest of them all. On this list, I'm going to go ahead and put my personal life out there. My mother's home was on the list. And she bought the house this way. So I brought her to City Hall. They told us to pull a permit, to pull up our history, which we did, and seeing that there was a permit. So I'm kind of like, why are we on this list if there was a permit? I immediately called a ton of my friends that were on this list, and they had similar stories. So I was already very frustrated that I thought, everything had been looked at, everything was pulled. Like I said, my parents bought this house, so we had no idea if there was or wasn't a permit. But same as Council Neal said, what's the point of this? If somebody sells the home, now this new homeowner is going to be excited for it, and now they're punished for it. So I don't see the point of having this at all. I just don't understand why this even came up. I don't get it.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Councilwoman Bent.
I was one of those as well.
Oh, I understand.
I'm sorry. And then I was on the receiving end of another district's phone call, just because they know me well. And that's okay. It's just, a horrible assumption that everybody had been communicated to and had read said communications. And so if we're not going to do anything, I guess I just don't, I'm with them, I don't understand. Not that I want to fine people, so I'm okay with that. I mean, it's perfectly okay just to let it go. Knowing we have the ordinance there, you know, function through the 714 left or whatever. She and I do have the largest list. We're not walking this weekend for you guys, though. I'm sorry. We're not walking in the sleet and snow.
I'm sorry, can I add to you about this list? So yes, I have my original ginormous list. I have not walked. I only text the ones that I knew because I knew them, but I never received an updated list. So the rest of my residents that are, you know, that do have the converted garage with no permit, they still don't know. And the friends that I did message, they're like, as much as you guys say, you know, like we've advertised, and I saw the advertisements on social media, I see it in the newsletter, but a ton of them are like, we never specifically were targeted. They're like, yes, we saw it in the newsletter, we assumed we had permits when we bought the home, but they also mentioned that they weren't specifically targeted as like, you are one with a possible converted garage without a permit.
Right.
So it was a little frustrating that the deadline's coming up and I still have not notified the rest of my residents because I do not have an updated list.
Thank you.
Everything she said, and I'm going to leave it at that, but thank you, Sam.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No, I understand. I mean, again, that list was just a potential list. The only way to truly verify is to ask for us to go inside the structure to check or to seek an administrative warrant. I don't think targeting individuals or addresses was ever the idea behind this program. It was strictly a voluntary application to clear any possible future title issues with that property. And also if you wanted to ever expand your structure.
Right, and I understand that, but then there was some confusion as inspectors went out and what the expectation was. You know, like if DCAD, if there's not a closet in the room, it's not a bedroom, it's a living space. But then you didn't, you know, not you specifically, there was no discernment on that. But then the conversation didn't lean into originally that if it's a bedroom, the fire marshal has completely different, separate, you know, requirements of what safety is required for that room. And I don't think the residents, I mean, honestly, I know we communicated, but I don't think the details and those specifics of what the requirements were. Like one resident was told, well, this all changed because we adopted the international standards, building standards. Really? I mean, I remember that vote, but that's not, it wasn't pertaining or relevant to this. And so that's where I really was very confused.
Thank you. Councilman Reed?
Yeah, and my understanding is that one of the driving forces behind this, one of the many driving forces behind this is safety. Because a lot of these conversions that were not done professionally have the potential, you know, if wiring wasn't done properly, if there's any plumbing involved, structural changes were not done properly, there are severe safety issues there. And that's one of the things that we wanted to prevent. Additionally, when someone sells their home, in the state of Texas, they're required to fill out the seller's disclosure form, which I believe, knowing that there was it's a non-compliant conversion, would qualify as something being on that form. Given that, especially since we've done such a monumentous job at notifying people. I know there's some instances where people aren't notified, but it seems like a vast majority of the people who are non-compliant should know that they are non-compliant and are just opting not to do anything. In that instance, the new buyer would have the opportunity to go back to the original seller after the transaction, correct me if I'm wrong, David, and potentially seek compensation.
For compensation is difficult, filing a lawsuit is difficult, all that costs money. Seller's disclosure statement is filled out and signed by the seller of property to the best of their knowledge. A lot of the garage conversions, like we said before, were done years ago, and the seller may have bought the property based on a seller's disclosure statement that didn't disclose the unpermitted conversion. So in theory, that sounds like that's how it should work. In practice, it doesn't really work that way. And that doesn't, even then, that doesn't always prohibit a seller who knows that it's an illegal conversion from signing off on a disclosure statement anyway to sell the house and walk away.
Right. I'm talking about like from this point forward, not historically, someone who bought the home in, 1984 that had a, converted, I'm not talking about those transactions. I'm talking about people moving forward at this point. I'm just raising points out there, trying to give some incentives to have people, look into it, because it's a simple process to get it permitted, provided that everything is done right. And just for self-protection, whether it's, the sale of property, building upon it. Yeah, because if someone new buys a property, they might want to, we see it with construction in places all the time. Here, they're buying a smaller property and want to add on to it as opposed to buying something bigger. So there's a lot of self-protection that goes into that. Secondly, and it just might have been me not paying attention, but I didn't realize that, I thought no permits would be allowed, period. I did not realize that maintenance permits were still being allowed. And I'm curious as to whether that is something that we might, if we were to change that, might entice some people, because welcome to Texas. How frequently do you have to change your roof? And plumbing and electrical and stuff like that. Whether that change could incentivize some people to look into the proper permitting. Just a couple of thoughts.
Thank you. Councilwoman Villafranca.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, as always, for your great presentation. I think there are a couple things that I want to address that my colleagues brought up. First, tightening the screws by saying if you need a plumbing, emergency plumbing, or I would venture to say that many of the people that have all of these conversions are probably economically disadvantaged in some way, many of them, and I think that would really be unfair to our residents. The seller's disclosure is important, that we know when you sell the house. And can you please tell us, I think this is really important, we're talking about all of the semantics, but can you tell us exactly what is the procedure and what are they looking for? My understanding was that they would go in and they just wanted to make sure there weren't like live wires hanging from the ceiling or, hot wired connections, or I'm not sure. Can you tell us what the process is? They come in, they pay $100 and then tell us once they go inside, are they going to inspect the whole house? I think some of the people that I've spoken with, I think they feel overwhelmed and they feel like, it's going to be an inspection of the entire house and we're going to, drop the hammer on them. So can you kind of just go over the whole thing?
I'll walk you through the process of applying for the permit. It's pretty simple. You would submit your application. You would submit a simple line drawing of the floor plan of the entire home. Doesn't have to be to scale. All you're identifying are areas within the house, also showing the converted garage. Then you would, our our community services staff would review it. They would schedule an inspection, and Scott is really the individual that does those inspections. And I'm sure he's done a few of them just this week. So he can probably explain that as to what he's looking for. But I can tell you, the only area that we're looking at is the area that was converted, nothing else. So, but I'll let him explain that to you.
And then can you tell us what the fee is? When they come in, do they have to pay something? Is it free? Just kind of make it step by step.
Good morning, Mayor, council members. Thank y'all for having us here today. So there is a fee. It's a $100 fee when they come in to apply for the permit. We do require a floor plan. That is all that is required to identify all the rooms in the house. This helps our plan reviewer determine any potential concerns before I actually go out to inspect it. Once that has been approved and I go out to inspect, I am basically looking for two things because the structure has not changed. The existing building code, it's no different than you enclosing your back porch. Everything has stayed the same. You've just put a wall up and now you're occupying it. You changed habitable space to now, occupiable space to now habitable space. So I'm only making sure there are no life safety issues, wires hanging out, ceiling falling down. If it's used as a bedroom, that you have a smoke detector inside the bedroom and outside the bedroom, and you have an emergency escape out of that room. Those are our only concerns. It is a very simple process. I tell every citizen when I walk in the home, I don't want to see the rest of your home. Take me to the garage and let me observe it.
This is really helpful because I'm hearing, somebody said, oh, and then the fire department has to come, and then this person has to come. So this, I could manage that, So are you finding that some of the issues that you're having are maybe a language barrier issues? Has that been an issue at all?
Depending on where the citizens are getting their information from, it's not the same information that we put out here at the city. It's not the information we presented at town hall meetings. Whether they didn't attend it and it's word of mouth that they're getting this information, but they're telling me different stories, the same stories y'all are telling us today. And that's not what we presented at all the town hall meetings, the information.
Mayor, is there a way for us to maybe disseminate like a bullet point, like this is what we will check, we will only go in your garage, exactly what he just said?
I would say, I believe the program is on pause at the moment, correct?
Yeah,
well,
yes.
For the most part, okay. So perhaps it would be worthwhile to regroup. And this is where the council has power and control on this. This program was established by ordinance by the city council. You all can do away with that program if you don't want to continue it. I do think that there are certainly reasons for having this that relate to on-site safety, but if the council is of the mindset that this is either too difficult or punitive to residents, then that is your decision how you want to, whether you continue or don't continue with this program. If we continue, then perhaps we need to regroup and maybe have simpler explanation, outline in just bullet point fashion what's expected, communicate to those homes that are still on the list, and let's mail to them English and Spanish, whatever. The council people really shouldn't be out delivering materials to individual homeowners. One, not their expertise. Two, just like any code official going to a house, they might be perceived as not a friendly situation, and that's not what we want to put representatives in. So I think if there's a way, now that we've whittled this down some, to follow through with the rest of it if that's the will of council. If they decide not to pursue this any further, that will be up to them, but that won't be done tonight. So that's my summary on that.
I agree. This was more helpful than any of the discussions we've had at any time at all. But I do think that it is important for us to continue to pursue this. God forbid something happen in one of those homes and that is irreparable of someone's life. It would be horrible. I think that now that we're very, very clear that we are not coming after you, we don't want you to put chandeliers or the fire department, like we just want to make sure that it's safe, that you have smoke detectors. I think that this will change the game in many ways. Maybe we can do some kind of like a little public service thing. Like a lot of people don't really read, like a lot of people want to see things on somebody speaking and telling them, and maybe we can address it in different ways, but I think this is important enough that we not make it go away.
I might suggest just maybe a simple walkthrough with an English and Spanish explanation, and throw it out on social media, put it on the city website, whatever. Let's use the tools that we have available. If we're going to continue the program, let's do it, and let's speak to people in the language they can best understand.
Yes.
Councilman Neal?
Yeah, I just want to restate for the record that when we approved the ordinance, as well as the subsequent update we got on the ordinance 6 or 8 months later, I asked this very question: what are we going to do at the end of the amnesty? I was not given any answer when we passed the ordinance. I wasn't given any answer during the update. I still feel like I have an answer now as to what's going to happen under the amnesty and amnesty ends.
We have an answer.
So he's given some information now. However, I think
In my mind, the answer is what we say in my house: every turkey gets his Thanksgiving. So you may get away with not having a permit right now, but sooner or later, you're going to want to do something to your house. And when you do, then
I would agree. I also don't think that we should just wash our hands of it, because then that's unfair to the 700 people that followed the program and did it correctly. So you might have to refund that money or do something like that. But if we're going to continue with it, I think we should do a little bit more. Maybe, as Councilman Reed suggested, that if they want any kind of permit, we might have to clear this one first. I'm not really sure. So still looking for some final ideas on where do we go at the end of amnesty. Yeah, I do agree. Maybe we should extend this amnesty a little bit so that we can regroup, maybe another 45, 60 days or so, to get some more updated, valid, corrected data. Maybe in that time, we can maybe discuss what would we do at the end of this amnesty. If we just wash our hands, do we tighten it up even tighter? So I'd consider an option to extend the amnesty program a little bit longer if it's the will of council.
Councilman Reed?
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. I was thinking more along the lines of 6 months, 6-month extension. And yes, I think I agree with Councilman Neal that there should be a little bit more teeth into this in regards to repercussions. One of my concerns, as we've talked about a little bit tonight, is not only the current property owner, but property owners down the line. Someone who gets a home that is non-compliant, and whether it's them having to deal with not being able to get a permit, or as Councilwoman Villafranca pointed out, what if it leads to some sort of fire or an issue there? And those are the things that we're trying to avoid. You know, we're trying to avoid new residents being put into a negative situation, not only from a permitting perspective, but a safety perspective.
Right, I think we did, Dave. I think we did at one point have a ordinance upon change of ownership. They would apply for a certificate of occupancy, which required a generalized inspection of the property for that safety. But that ordinance has been
We did away
done
with that.
away with, but that would be the opportunity where we would catch this and any other sort of issues that the new homeowner might have and help minimize them from being put into a spot of being uncomfortable in their new home.
Well, again, that's something that's done after the fact.
Well, and that was the problem with that specific ordinance, was after the new owners have purchased it, because Farmers Branch was one of the last men standing, city standing, that had that ordinance. And so people would find out after they had purchased that they had to have a certificate of occupancy.
Right.
And there was a lot that the realtors had issues with that, because
Yeah, but they wouldn't live in the property for 20 years and then learn they're out of compliance like some of these have now. They would have known within 60 days probably to get
but they
things
can't
addressed.
move in until they get the CO, which means.
That's not true. I think there was a temporary arrangement. They could give temporary permission for them to move in and get their utilities and whatnot turned on, at least temporarily, with an understanding they had, 30 days to
Well,
do the proper.
we did have a real estate agent come and complain and lobbied for us to get rid of that, because they said they couldn't get utilities turned on until the city released a CO, and the city wasn't releasing a CO until they went out and did the inspection. And, all this is going on. People are closing on their homes, and then they can't get inspection done for, 2 or 3 days, or maybe into the next week. And it was, according to the real estate agent that spoke, it was creating just this whole snowball of problems. So, there was a method and a rationale for having that in place. But the power of somebody's voice caused the council to do away with that. So I think it's certainly worth discussion whether you want to go back that way, whether you want to extend this program, but give a little bit of a pause to develop some better communication tools.
I had one other question on the floor plan. Some of my residents don't have a floor plan. So what does that mean? Can they just draw that on a piece of paper? Do they need to get an architectural? So, just to clarify, what can they do in that case if they need it?
They can actually just draw the floor plan themselves. It's a simple line drawing, just showing bedrooms, dining area, bathrooms. It's relatively a simple process.
So Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Mayor and Council, just to make sure we clarify some things on the record, we did ask as the city management team to pause the council interactions on this program so we could validate the data that came from 2 surveys back in 2023. So I want to make sure I highlight that as staff was working on data, thought to be accurate and relevant, obviously an opportunity there, and they're working to clear that up. But bringing it back to you all today so we have you all on the same page and resetting expectations, one of the questions was, can we extend? Technically, this is not an actionable item since it is on study session. You can give me direction as your city manager to extend, but we will bring something back for formal action for council to put it in the record and amend the ordinance that started this process. Again, taking all the feedback into consideration council has given. Again, the program hasn't stopped. It was mentioned during items of community interest. It's on our website. It's on our social media. It's important to carry out the direction we have, which is getting this done. There's ways to do that, but again, we can focus on communication and then any other tools you would like, but I just need to clarify a couple details.
Okay. Well, I've been here so long, I think it's all one council meeting. But so with that, one, would you like city staff to come back with recommendation and possibly extending this program?
Yes.
Yes?
I'm in favor of David's recommendation of 6 months.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
I think we've been at it for 18 months already. I think 6 months more is a little bit extra. I was hoping we could find a happy medium of maybe 3 months, but, if the rest of the council wants 6 months, and I guess that's what it is. But
Okay.
I'm in favor of 3 months.
Well, 6 months?
I'm good with 6 months.
Six, okay. Extend for 6 months, bring back recommendation.
Try and close the loop on some of how we enforce. I think Councilman
Yes.
Neal's made something very clear that what happens at the end of the journey. We're still going to have probably hundreds that haven't completed. We will get council the updated list, so thank y'all for your patience. We just want to get you all together to be on the same page. But again, the solutions we're looking for is one, the 6 months coming up, get council action to make that official. Two, what is the solution at the end when we still have houses that haven't completed the journey? And the list to the council ASAP with the updated information and updated flyers. There we go.
Thank you. Sam, thank you.
Oh, no, you're welcome. I just want to, hopefully you can understand that the list was, again, a potential garage conversion. The only way to really take that address off the list is through an inspection. Or we have we can identify a permit that was issued for the conversion. Other than that, as we do our due diligence, when someone comes in for a building permit, we will go through that same process. We will review all the available data that we have. And even though they're not on the list and we can't find a permit for it, for the conversion, there's still a non-conforming structure. So under the nonconformities of our zoning ordinance, that's how these uses are treated, in that we can issue permits for maintenance, repair, but we can't issue for the expansion of a nonconforming structure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is C11, receive an update from the mayor and council members regarding board liaison information from outside organizations and other meetings attended. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
I attended the Martin Luther King Parade in Carrollton.
Very good. Councilwoman Bennett? Yeah, Councilman Reed. Councilwoman Villafranca?
Thank you so much. I had the opportunity to attend the MetroCrest Connect lunch. I attended the last meeting of the Oversized Vehicle Task Force, was able to attend Rotary Club, and also attended the St. Andrews Police Appreciation, where St. Andrews Parish was brought a Chick-fil-A to the police officers over at the police station, and it was really nice. I participated in the Martin Luther King Parade, and it was really a lot of fun. I got to borrow my husband's car, which was really cool. I was able to attend the Mary Immaculate School Leadership Team meeting this morning, and we were able to, the mayor and the deputy city manager and
Robert Diaz.
Attended, and it was just a delight to see the innocence of the kids and all of the things they want to do, and it was really, really nice. I want to remind everybody about the State of the City that is upcoming, but also I want to remind everybody about my town hall meeting on Tuesday, February 10th at 6 o'clock, and it would really mean a lot if all of you could be there. If you have any questions, let me know now so that we can have your question answered when you arrive. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you. Councilman Neal?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Okay. I have a few things to report. We did have wrap-up meeting for the boat, camper, RV, and trailer task force. And I want to thank everybody who participated in that program. I attended the Oak Brook HOA Polar Plunge. Man, what a bunch of idiots jumping in the water, freezing cold. I'll tell you what. But they did it, and it was a lot of fun just to watch. Oh, hell no, I didn't do it. I was a judge. Of course, we had the Branch Connection breakfast, first Monday breakfast at the seniors at the Branch Connection, and it was a lot of fun. I went to the Weitzman, which is a commercial real estate company. I went to their real estate presentation for 2026 to learn about commercial real estate trends in Dallas-Fort Worth. I also attended the Korean American Day celebration and event and issued a proclamation, made a presentation to the Korean American Society of Dallas. I actually went to prison. Thought that'd get everybody's attention. Nope. So I took representatives from Envision, and we went down to the Federal Correctional Institute in Seagoville to visit the Unicor facility down there. They do sewing and piecemeal work down at the prison, and all that material gets shipped up to Envision for finishing off. So a couple of executives with Envision had never been there, so I took them down there to go on a tour of that facility. It was really interesting. had a meeting with the city manager and deputy city manager and Councilman Reed at Red Sticks to just talk about general business and what is going on, the impact of the Valley View construction as relates to the restaurant business over here at Mustang Station. Of course, I attended the North Texas Crime Commission meeting, which they had Texas DPS made a presentation at that meeting, very informative. Also had a meeting with the city manager and deputy city manager with the owner of the Big Lots property to talk about opportunities for that piece of land. Last night, I had a meeting with State Senator Tan Parker. Our discussion centered around DART. We will continue to work on that situation. And then, of course, I was at Mary Immaculate with Councilwoman Villafranca, Deputy City Manager, and our Parks Director. Those students asked some really good questions. And so it was a pleasure being there to visit with them on that. And that's all I have. Yep. So next up is item C12, review and discuss future agenda items. Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Nothing for me, Mayor.
Councilwoman Bennett? Councilman Reed? Councilwoman Villafranca?
Nothing, thank you.
Councilman Neal? I do have one thing that I would like to just throw out there and have discussion on, and that is creating some informational tours for the city council as a group, where we would go as a group to tour, say, the landfill, the city service center, maybe one of the water pump house facilities, and then we could go to police station. I think most of us have been there, but as a group we have not, and fire admin, and just create more familiarity with these various departments, and public works also, with the city council. So sort of an on-site visit. And it was just an idea, so we can talk about that. And that is all that we have for this evening. So with that, we will adjourn at 8:03. I want to thank everybody for attending. We're adjourned.